I remember the heat of his breath against my neck, the weight of his hands pulling me closer, and the way my body betrayed every vow I had ever spoken. I was not out with friends like I had told my husband. I was in another man's bed, tangled in sheets that smelled nothing like home, gasping in pleasure while my wedding ring pressed cold against my finger. At that very moment, as I lost myself in him, I knew I had crossed a line that I could never step back from. And the worst part was, I wanted more. Before I go deeper, I want to pause here and appreciate each one of you for subscribing to this channel. A big thank you goes out to all my loyal viewers and to the new ones who are still deciding whether to subscribe. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because it serves as the fuel and energy that keeps this channel alive. Do not forget to engage and share your thoughts in the comments section right after this short hook intro. Your voices matter, and they shape the way we share and grow through these stories. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Emily. I am a 34-year-old woman, born and raised in the suburbs of Ohio. On the outside, my life was the kind that others envied. I had a husband, Daniel, who loved me in ways most women prayed for. He was steady, reliable, and faithful. We lived in a neat white house with blue shutters, the kind you see in real estate brochures, with a well-kept yard and a mailbox that carried our family name. But what no one knew was how restless I was becoming inside. I loved Daniel, but I had started craving something different, something that stirred my blood and woke me up from the safe rhythm of our routine life. It was not that Daniel was neglectful. If anything, he gave me more attention than I deserved. But his love was soft and predictable, and in some twisted way, I wanted to feel something dangerous again. That something came in the form of Ryan. He was not a stranger. He was a man from my gym, the one I saw every other morning when I forced myself onto the treadmill. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a grin that carried mischief. He noticed me long before I admitted noticing him. The way his eyes lingered, the casual, "see you tomorrow," after workouts, the playful teasing when he saw me struggling through weights, it all built up like kindling waiting for a spark. The spark came one rainy Thursday evening. Daniel was working late, and I stopped at the gym on my way home. Ryan was there, drenched in sweat, his shirt clinging to him in ways I tried not to notice. He caught me looking. I laughed it off, but he did not. Instead, he walked up and leaned close enough for me to smell his cologne mixed with salt and heat. "You ever train with someone who pushes you past your limit?" he asked. The words were innocent, but his tone was not. I swallowed hard, knowing I should step back, but I nodded instead. That night, I told Daniel that I was grabbing dinner with some friends from work. In reality, I followed Ryan out of the gym and into a storm I could not control. His apartment was only 10 minutes away, but each second felt like an hour. My heart pounded against my ribs, my mind screamed for me to stop, but my body betrayed me. The moment we stepped inside, I knew I was not leaving untouched. The first kiss was not gentle. It was hungry, like we had both been waiting for it longer than we admitted. His hands explored me with urgency, and I responded with a desperation that shocked even me. Every barrier of loyalty and morality shattered as I gave myself over to him. It was raw, it was intense, and it was everything I had been secretly craving. But in the middle of it all, a sick wave of guilt crashed over me. I thought of Daniel. I thought of the way he trusted me completely, never once doubting when I said I was meeting friends. I thought of our wedding day, his trembling hands sliding the ring onto my finger. Yet even with those memories flooding me, I did not stop. I wanted the forbidden, and I took it. When it was over, I lay there in Ryan's bed, staring at the ceiling, my chest still heaving. He reached for me, smirking, like what we had just done was the most natural thing in the world. But for me, it was not natural. It was betrayal in its purest form. On the drive home, I rehearsed the lie over and over in my head. Daniel asked me how dinner was when I walked through the door, and I smiled as if my soul had not just been stained. It was great. We laughed a lot. He kissed my cheek, poured me a glass of wine, and told me how glad he was that I had fun. My stomach twisted, but I kept smiling. That night, as Daniel wrapped his arms around me in bed, whispering goodnight, I shut my eyes tight. His love was safe, warm, and constant. But my mind was still on Ryan, on the way his hands had left marks on my skin, marks I prayed Daniel would never see. I told myself it was a mistake, a one-time weakness. I swore I would never let it happen again. But deep down, I already knew that I would. The taste of forbidden fruit is never enough with one bite. And that was the beginning of the lie that would burn my marriage to the ground. When I woke up the next morning, Daniel was already downstairs making breakfast. The smell of bacon drifted up the staircase, and for a moment I wanted to believe that nothing had changed. But everything had. I had changed. My body carried the memory of Ryan from the night before, and my heart carried a weight that pressed down on me like a stone. Daniel greeted me with his usual warmth, sliding a plate in front of me as if I was the only woman in the world. His blue eyes searched mine with that same adoration that once made me feel safe. Now, it made me feel like a thief. I smiled, forced and thin, while he chatted about weekend plans. My guilt was sharp, but not sharp enough to erase the lingering pull I felt toward Ryan. For a few weeks, I managed to push the memory aside. I threw myself into routines, pretending the affair was a moment of weakness that could be buried under laundry and dinner dates. But temptation never sleeps. Ryan did not let me. He texted me. At first, it was simple, "You looked beautiful today." Then it turned into, "When can I see you again?" I should have deleted his number. Instead, I saved it under a woman's name. Every time my phone buzzed, Daniel assumed it was one of my friends. I leaned into that lie so hard that it began to feel natural. The second time with Ryan was more dangerous, and more deliberate. I told Daniel I was grabbing drinks with coworkers, but I was in Ryan's apartment again, pressed against the wall before I even set my purse down. It was reckless, it was wrong, but the adrenaline of sneaking around fed something inside me that had been starving. He knew exactly what he was doing, how to pull me closer, how to make me forget that I was married, how to make me believe for a few stolen hours that I was someone else. But each time I returned home, I wore guilt like perfume, invisible but suffocating. I scrubbed myself in the shower, I deleted messages, I smiled through dinners with Daniel's family. Still, I felt the cracks forming. He began noticing little things. "Emily, you are always on your phone lately. Your perfume smells different. You seem distracted." I brushed it off with quick excuses. Work stress. New perfume sample. Just tired. He believed me, or at least he wanted to believe me. His trust was so complete that it blinded him to the storm building right under his nose. The first close call came one Saturday evening. I was in the bathroom, texting Ryan, telling him I could not stop thinking about our last time together. My phone buzzed with his reply just as Daniel walked in. I nearly dropped it. His eyes flicked to the screen, and my chest froze. But before he could read anything, I slid the phone into my pocket and smiled. "Who is that?" he asked casually. I forced a laugh. "Just Claire. She is asking about the girls' night next week." He nodded, kissed my forehead, and left. My knees almost gave out. That was when I realized how fragile my double life was. One wrong glance, one wrong word, and everything would collapse. But instead of stopping, the danger excited me. It was like walking a tightrope without a safety net, and I could not resist the thrill. With every lie I told, the distance between Daniel and me grew. He would reach for me in bed, and I would turn away, claiming exhaustion. He would plan date nights, and I would cancel, because of sudden plans with friends. The truth was, those nights were spent in Ryan's bed, drowning in lust and forgetting the man I had promised forever to. And yet, part of me hated myself. After every secret meeting, I would sit in my car, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror, whispering, "What are you doing?" I would think of Daniel's laugh, his patience, his loyalty. But the guilt never outweighed the hunger. I was addicted, not just to Ryan, but to the secrecy itself. The turning point came on a Tuesday night. I had just returned home from Ryan's apartment, my hair still damp from a rushed shower. Daniel was sitting in the living room, the TV on but his eyes fixed on me. "You are out late again," he said quietly. "Yeah, the girls wanted to stay longer than usual," I replied, my voice steady though my heart pounded. He studied me for a long moment. "Emily, is there something you are not telling me?" My stomach flipped. For a second, I thought he knew. But I forced a smile, walked over, and kissed his cheek. "Of course not. You are imagining things." He nodded, but his eyes did not soften. That was the first night I saw suspicion in him. It was the first hairline fracture in the wall of trust we had built together. Still, I did not stop. If anything, the risk made it more intoxicating. I was convinced I could balance it all, the wife at home, the lover in secret, the lies to cover the truth. But deep inside, I knew it was only a matter of time before it all unraveled. And when it did, it would not just be cracks anymore. It would be an explosion that shattered everything. The night it all came crashing down started like any other. I had told Daniel that I was meeting my coworkers for dinner. In truth, I was with Ryan again. The lie rolled off my tongue so easily now that I hardly felt the sting when I said it. But that night, fate decided my time was up. We were in Ryan's bed, his arms locked around me, when my phone began to buzz relentlessly on the nightstand. I ignored it at first, but it kept vibrating until the sound filled the room. When I glanced at the screen, my stomach dropped. It was Daniel. 6 missed calls. A sinking dread crawled through me. Ryan smirked, brushing it off. "Relax. He probably just misses you." But I knew better. Daniel never called me that many times unless something was wrong. I picked up, forcing calm into my voice. "Hey, is everything okay?" His tone was cold. "Emily, where are you?" My throat went dry. "I told you, I am with friends." There was a pause. Then his voice cut through like a knife. "I am standing outside the restaurant you claimed you were at." I asked around. "No one has seen you. So I will ask you again, where are you?" My heart stopped. Every lie, every cover story, every excuse had finally caught up with me. I hung up, my hands shaking, and scrambled to dress. Ryan tried to calm me, but I could not hear him over the sound of my own panic. The double life I thought I was balancing had just collapsed in an instant. When I walked through our front door that night, Daniel was waiting. His face was pale, his jaw tight, his eyes burning with a mixture of rage and heartbreak. He did not yell immediately. Instead, he looked at me as if he was staring at a stranger. "Who is he?" he asked flatly. I tried to deny it. I tried to spin another lie, but my voice cracked, and my eyes betrayed me. That was when he exploded. "Do not lie to me, Emily. I followed you last week, I saw you near that apartment complex, and I ignored it because I wanted to believe you. But tonight, you made me see the truth with my own eyes. You have been lying to me, to my face, while I was here loving you, trusting you, and building a life with you." Tears blurred my vision. "Daniel, please, I made a mistake." He cut me off, his voice shaking. "A mistake? A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is misplacing a bill. What you did was betrayal. You destroyed us, Emily. You destroyed me." The room felt colder than any winter night. I reached for him, but he stepped back as if my touch burned. His pain was raw, visible in the way his hands trembled, in the way his voice cracked when he spoke again. "I gave you everything. I defended you, trusted you, loved you with all that I had. And while I was kissing you goodnight, you were in another man's bed. Do you know what that does to a man? Do you understand the kind of wound that leaves?" There was no answer I could give. No words that could undo what I had done. The silence between us was suffocating. Finally, he pointed toward the door. "Get out. Pack your things and get out." This house is no longer yours. You threw it away the moment you chose him over me. I begged. I pleaded. I promised that I would change, that it would never happen again. But he was not moved. His love for me had been buried under the rubble of betrayal. He watched as I gathered my clothes into a bag, his eyes never softening, his jaw never loosening. Walking out of that house felt like walking out of my entire life. The walls that once held laughter now echoed with silence. The man who once held me close now stood with arms crossed, guarding himself from me. The life I had built with Daniel was gone, and I had no one to blame but myself. That night, I drove aimlessly, tears blurring the road until I had to pull over. I sat in the dark, my face pressed against the steering wheel, sobbing until my chest hurt. I thought of Ryan, but even his face felt hollow now. He was not my husband. He was not my forever. He was just the fire I had chosen to burn my world down with. In the days that followed, Daniel cut me off completely. No calls, no texts, no hope for reconciliation. Friends whispered behind my back, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others offering pity that I could not stand. I was the villain in my own story, and I deserved every ounce of it. I had wanted passion. I had wanted excitement. But in the end, all I had was regret. The truth is, affairs do not just end marriages. They end trust, respect, and the very image of who you thought you were. Daniel never forgave me. He did not take me back, and he should not have. I was thrown out of the home we built, left to sit with the weight of my choices. There was no redemption, no happy ending. Only loss. And if you are wondering if it was worth it, let me be clear, it was not. That one night in another man's bed cost me everything.